It's been a while since we have gathered together. Sure, all the microphones are good and stuff. I hope everybody's doing well. I know things have been, I mean, we can use the word crazy if we want to, and the heat of the summer isn't really helping a lot of the wounds and triggers and traumas from coming up. So the chaos is, it's necessary, it's needed. And the more we recognize that the chaos is needed, the easier it is to kind of get through. I think the biggest part of recognizing, how do I want to put this? So there are so many illusions and so many distractions that we can get ourselves caught up in that it's difficult to see the reality. It's difficult to stay focused and see the reality of what it is that we personally are trying to accomplish. And I think one of the biggest lessons right now for everybody is to remain in your own mind, do the things that make you feel like you're on your own soul journey and your own path. It's very easy to get lost in what's happening in the world. And it's not like, I'm a really big believer of not spiritually bypassing things. That doesn't mean that we sit in the anger and we sit in the frustration and we sit in the pain of it. That means that we acknowledge that what we're going through is very real. And, yes, we're a soul and we're living in this human experience, and we're all interconnected. Our energies are all interconnected, but we each came here to identify as an individual. And we came here to learn from that individuality. And so it's very easy to get lost in what's going on. The card reading that I'm going to do today, yes, I'm going to pull some cards. We're going to talk about Leo season. The new moon in Leo is happening tomorrow morning. Actually it'll be afternoon for the East Coast, and it's mid-morning for Mountain Time, almost noon for Mountain Time, and it'll be trine Jupiter. Now, leading up to this new moon, we've been under this Cancer moon. We've had a lot of triggers happen this week. We've had a lot of things come up for us to look at, and it's in order for us to recognize the wounds that we're still holding on to, where we're not able to move forward, where we're not able to make spaces because we're so determined to not let go of the anger and the wounding and the traumas. It's very easy to get wrapped up in the illusions, I wanted to call them delusions, which same thing, but the distractions of the world, the illusions of the world. It's very easy to get wrapped up in them, especially if you're still counting on the rest of the world to make sure that you're taken care of and that you're safe. If you are holding on to a job that you can't stand right now because you're like, but I just have to make ends meet and I have to be able to pay my bills. That's all, that's what you need to be doing, right? But as you're doing that, allow yourself to see the fear behind it, that you're holding on to something because you're afraid of losing other things. And it's not that we're supposed to be losing everything in our life. It's that we're supposed to be recognizing what it is that we count on that's just an illusion. That job that you have, if you're working somewhere to boost other people and you're not getting boosted in any way, shape, or form, there is no growth there for you. So it's not that I want everybody to quit their jobs. It's not that I want everybody to run away and go places where there aren't any triggers and there aren't any wounds. And it's that I want you to be willing to find your own peace despite what's happening in the world. And that's not necessarily an easy thing to do, but every single time we go through a cycle where there's the release of something so that we can make space for more, it's our responsibility to pay attention to what we need to release. It's not the world's responsibility to change things for us so we have a more peaceful existence here. It's our responsibility to change those things. And I've noticed there's so much anger right now. It's even I've even had some of the anger. It's a different kind of anger than what I used to. Like, I'm not angry at the rest of the world anymore because the rest of the world doesn't control what happens. I get angry with the own personal experiences that I'm going through. And that's my wounding. That's my trauma that I have to go through, and willingly, right? Like, I'm doing it. I'm allowing myself to heal those things on purpose. But if we don't acknowledge the stuff that needs to be healed, it simmers, it stays there. And the reason why I'm saying this, as we get further into Leo season, closer to the 1st of August, on July 30th, we'll have Uranus in the North Node conjunct at 18 degrees in Taurus. And then this will be still during the new moon phase. So coming up this weekend, we have this Uranus and North Node conjunction. And Uranus is about the sudden unexpected changes that happen. And the North Node we've had in Taurus have shown us how we have to start looking at our resources in a different way. And if we are counting on resources that, like if we are wrapping ourselves up in resources and jobs and money and the material things that are defining our own self-worth right now, things will be ripped away. And it's not even, I don't even want to come out here and like give you guys fear mongering. I don't even want to come out here and tell you that all of these horrible things are going to happen, because that's not entirely true. Some of these things that are happening are absolutely necessary for us to happen. Things need to shift. Uranus is not a bad guy. Not a bad guy. He's here for the evolutionary stuff. He's here to remind us that staying in one space and staying in one position is not growth. It's not evolution. It's something that creates more stagnancy than anything else could. And we've had Uranus and Taurus since 2018, and dramatically the resources have changed. And the amount that we allow ourselves to recognize what things need to be taken away in order for us to grow and to thrive. A lot of this is going to look like, we've talked about we've seen on the news and stuff about the food shortages, the baby formula shortages. All of those things are included, but it's also like the stock market and the cryptocurrency stuff that's going on, and the way that we are recognizing more and more from people that we were supposed to trust in the government, let's put that in quotations, supposed to trust in the government, and it's just that's not even a thing. It's not even happening. We can't trust that. And so we're looking and we're actually recognizing that we need to rely more on ourselves, and we need to allow ourselves to see that the way that resources were provided to us in the past, or the way that resources were utilized in the past, it has to change. And there are so many articles coming out about the food that we've been eating for decades that are not good for us. And there's going to be so many more of that, so much more of that. What's really interesting, we were in Walmart the other day, and I keep seeing these super dehydrated foods on the shelves. And they're in like these really large jars. And it's like supposed to be some kind of dehydration. So like if there were, you know, it's like just add water basically to rehydrate this stuff. And I'm talking like full meals, like lasagna meals, and just these full, you know, just Salisbury steak, like just all these full meals, and they're just sitting on the shelves in these really big containers. And it's very apocalyptic, very much apocalyptic. So Mars will be joining Uranus and the North Node on August 1st, and we'll be feeling that for a few days. This is all under that, you know, moving from the new moon and then even going into that first quarter moon phase when we get to the Scorpio moon as well, and recognizing the things that we have to take charge on, the things that we have to do for ourselves to define our lives based on our own self-worth. When Mars comes in, that's going to be the aggression, that's going to be the aggressor, that's going to be the trigger, and that's going to be the, you're going to, you know, some of us are going to realize that we no longer want to be in our jobs. Some of us are going to lose our jobs, either being fired, letting go, being laid off, something like that. Some of us are going to want to start new opportunities, you know, during this time, instead of being in a corporation or being at a job that we've been in for a long time. There's this desire for change. And when we recognize that the changes that are happening on the outside are affecting us in such negative ways, it's really difficult to come into that peaceful state of mind and remind yourself that you're actually in control of your life. Nobody else is. And this Uranus North Node Mars conjunction happening on August 1st is a very loud bullhorn reminding you that you're in charge of your life. Some of these changes are already expected. You've already seen them coming and you're already prepared, but the way that it's going to happen, you probably aren't prepared for that part. So keeping an open mind, allowing your energy to flow with what's going on in the outside world and what's going on inside of you, that's not an easy task to undertake or to take on, but it's extremely necessary for people to open up their eyes. And this is one of those transits that's really going to be very eye-opening. And so keep an eye on what happens with the government, keep an eye on what happens with the money markets, keep an eye on what's going on with food on the shelves in the grocery stores, and you will see that the way that the outside world is trying to fear us, fear helps them to control things easier. So the more the constituents, I guess, are in fear, the easier it is to control them. So remember that. We have a full moon happening on August 11th, moving forward in Leo season. I'm hoping to do another card reading for that, and maybe a couple more before then. The full moon on August 11th will be conjunct Saturn, which is still retrograde until October. And so there's going to be a lot of reassessing some of the lessons that Saturn in Aquarius has taught us. And especially as we move even further down into August, just before the sun moves into August, we'll have Mars ingress Gemini. And Mars will be in Gemini for 7 months. By the time Mars goes into Cancer, we will have Saturn in Pisces, we will have Pluto in Aquarius, and we'll also have Mars in Cancer. And Mars in Cancer is that passive aggressiveness. But just to give you guys an idea of the massive shift that this Mars in Gemini is bringing to us. A lot of people are really fear-mongering about Mars and Gemini because during the retrograde, I didn't write down the retrograde dates, but I will for the next video that I do. But when Gemini starts that retrograde, people are saying, you know, don't start projects during this time. They'll absolutely fail. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And wherever Mars in Gemini is for you, what's going to be happening is that there's this assessment that you'll be taking in that area of your life. And there might be a lot of moments of anger that's not really controlled in a lot of ways, but it's to show you where you've been sleeping on yourself, where you haven't been creating, you know, the community efforts and, you know, because when we are loving on ourselves and taking care of ourselves, community just sort of shows up. That's a very fifth house lesson that everybody has to learn, because everybody has a fifth house in their chart. But the fifth house is about self-expression, right? So, you know, for example, if you have Mars in Gemini transiting your fifth house for the next 7 months, you know, starting in August, there's going to be this massive drive to want to express yourself no matter what. You're like, I don't give a shit. I don't care if nobody cares, you know, nobody wants to hear what I have to say. But as we're moving into a more community-minded sort of idea of life, which has been needed for a long time, especially with the pandemic, we were separated, you know, like there was this forceful separation that happened, and now we're sort of trying to come back to each other. And the kids that haven't been able to socialize with other kids are sort of trying to come back to each other. But there's this really big need to take action. And because, you know, Gemini, yes, it represents communication, but communication is also part of community. Communication, community, it's the same word. So we're learning how to come together. And in a lot of ways, that means that we have to break apart from other things that are holding us back in really big ways, and not allowing us to come together with community. And a lot of that is anger. A lot of that separation that we have still is anger. So, and Mars in Gemini is going to show you that. So learning how to communicate yourself through that anger and through those processes, that's going to be a really big lesson for all of us. And then, of course, August 22nd, the sun moves into Virgo, which is obviously the best time of the year. So let's do some cards. Let's see what we got for this new moon in Leo. Yeah, there's definitely a desire. And it's an emotional one. It's not something that's rooted in a place of material possessions. It's a very emotional kind of desire that we have. Oh, I love this. Okay. So we have the Nine of Cups. We have Judgment. And the Queen of Cups. We have the Ten of Pentacles, the World, and then we have the Six of Pentacles and Judgment came out together. Eight of Pentacles is at the bottom of the deck. Okay, so, and what I really love about this new moon in Leo is that we're going to have Mercury, what is it? No, we will have this new moon in Leo will be trine Jupiter. Jupiter's at 8 degrees. It's stationed in Aries and will be starting retrograde. Let me get that really quick. Hold on. Okay, so just as this new moon happens, we also have Jupiter stationed at retrograde and in Aries. And so that means that there's going, like, all of the things that Jupiter showed us while this like short little stint in Aries, the abundance that can be created in that house that we're in. So and that's why there's so much space. This Cancer moon that we're under today, like this Cancer moon today, yesterday it was square Chiron in Aries, and today the Cancer moon will be opposing Pluto after trining Neptune. And so there's all of these feelings and emotions. There's a lot of creativity that could come out of this as well, but all these feelings and emotions leading us up to this new moon in Leo. And it's really showing us the things that we need to get rid of we need to release. I mean, like, honestly, let's just say it what it is. We need to get rid of it so that we can make space for better, newer and better things. And you know what that is. Like, the manifestations that you're creating right now, you know what it is, and you also know that you deserve them. That judgment is there, right? 9 of Cups is the wish card, and it's the emotional wish. So this could feel very much, this new moon could feel very emotional for you as things start coming in with that Queen of Cups. The 10 of Pentacles, the World, the 6 of Pentacles, and Justice. To me, this feels like the idea of what the 10 of Pentacles is for you has completely changed. The 10 of Pentacles is that feeling of being home. The 10 of Pentacles is the feeling of creating with the family and having the family around. And with the World, it feels like there's a closure to what that used to look like for you. It may not be about you just like being in the comfort of family and having a marriage and having a house and all of that. Your abundance changes. The idea of what abundance is for you, that evolves along with you. That's a change that's also necessary. Otherwise, we're constantly sitting in old dreams, old things that we want to have, like I remember, it used to be in the past for me, what looked like abundance was the house and the car and the job and the title for the job and all of that stuff. And now abundance looks like peace for me. And abundance looks like, being able to pay my bills without having to worry about that. And being able to create that kind of life for myself without having anybody else tell me how that's going to look, that's peace for me. So there's a closure that's happening here, and it's necessary with this Judgment card. And there's also a balance that's happening with that closure. The 6 of Pentacles with Justice. There's a balance of the give and take. The more you allow yourself to give back to you, because in this world, a lot of times we think about what can we do for other people so that we look good, right? What kind of job title can I get so I look good to other people? What kind of job can I get so I can be of service to other people? And it's funny because you can still be, I say that because there's a lot of thinking that you have to be of service to somebody else in order to get through life or in order to get the things that you want in life, right? So when we begin to balance, both of these are very Libra cards, very, very Libra cards. And it's the hierarchy, right? It's like we want to stop giving back to the people that no longer are giving back to us. And that's going to create the balance. 9 of Cups. Let's see what this... Oh, wow. Okay. So on the 9 of Cups, we got 3 cards. We have the Star, we have the Ace of Wands, and we have the King of Swords. For some of you, you're dealing with an Aquarius energy. For some of you, you're recognizing that you need to take charge of your life. And whenever I see the Star card, I think of the North Node, and it could be your North Node, it could be the Taurus North Node that's transiting right now that we're under. But there's very much this Leo new moon is giving you an opportunity to see that it's time for you to take charge on your dreams. It's time for you to take charge on your opportunities that are coming to you. And there's going to be so many more doors that will open as long as you are turning around and looking at the doors and not paying attention to the closed door, right? The closed opportunity, the thing that's not happening anymore. We have the Wheel of Fortune on Judgment. Look how powerful those 2 cards. Wow. Things have to change. This Uranus, North Node, and Mars conjunction that's happening this weekend is absolutely necessary for things to change. And there's no looking back. There's nothing that we can do anymore that we haven't already done, right? And if you haven't been living for yourself, it's going to be really, really difficult for you to get through these massive changes. If you have been working on living for yourself, things may be a little weird. Last night even, I was like, I feel like I'm in a different dimension right now. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but everybody is losing their minds. And I've stayed far away from social media. I think I've posted a couple of times on Twitter yesterday. I posted this morning for the astrology for this week and this weekend. And like, that's it. Like, I don't really want to converse with people. I check on the people that I love and to see what's going on, but I mean, you guys have seen how long I've stayed away from even the YouTube channel. Like this time in our lives is a focus on what we are doing, not a focus on what the world is doing, what we are doing. And here we have the Knight of Pentacles with the Three of Cups on the Queen of Cups. There's a lot of reunions that are happening. Not necessarily just love, but not necessarily, I'll say romantic, not just necessarily romantic. There are also reunions with soul family. There are also reunions with the people that we are the most connected to. And there's this need to make sure that we're all taking the steps forward in order to come together and be able to celebrate. There's not a forcefulness to it. There is okay, I'm going to focus on my path. I'm going to focus on what I'm going to do, what I need to do, and I'm going to let that attract other energies to me instead of trying to go to people and force them and be like, this is what we have to do, or this is what we have to do. This is the thing that we need to do right now in order to move forward or whatever. We're not trying to force this energy. But slowly but surely, people are starting to come together and things are starting to come together. Soul families starting to come together. And the more we flow in that kind of energy, sorry, hold on a second. The more we flow in that kind of energy, it's so much easier to see this abundance for what it actually is and not what the world told us, right? So let's clarify the Ten of Pentacles. Oh yeah, love that. You can't fight against, they want to do one more card. Okay. You can't fight against what no longer is supposed to exist. Bottom of the deck is the Page of Swords. This is about honesty with yourself and with others. You got to have the hard conversation sometimes. Mercury was square Mars yesterday, wondering how many fights that happened during that time. But it's also about slowing down too, right? And sometimes the Tower can force that on us, the slowdown. There is a reckoning. Judgment is here. Wheel of Fortune is here. The world is here. The Tower is here. The Star is here. There is a reckoning that's happening right now. If you want to call it the apocalypse, you can call it the apocalypse. I don't really believe in that stuff. I don't buy into it. But what I can say is that the world is changing, and it's changing for permanence. It's changing because we cannot continue going the way that we were going. We cannot continue to use the resources so flippantly. You know, there are so many ways that and I've recognized this for myself just in, you know, the research with the sickness that I've had, the articles that I've been reading about the things that I've been putting in my body for damn near over 4 decades, right? And the other people were putting in my body. And you can clearly see that there are certain aspects of this world that are not meant to make us well. There's a lot of things in this world that are actually meant to make us sick. And there's a fear behind that as well, right? So that tower coming down on that 10 of Pentacles is literally your idea of what abundance is supposed to look like is completely changing. And if you try and build a new foundation on the rubble, it's not going to work. We got to clear it out. We have to clear out everything that fell from that tower so that we can start a whole new foundation. And you can fight it, right? We have the 5 of Wands on the World. Now, this is coming out in a couple of ways. You can fight the change. You can fight the ending. You can fight the closure all you want, but that's just going to ensure that you're suffering more than you need to. Trust me, from a person who has had to learn how to not suffer through life, you don't want to put yourself in that position, in that suffering position. The other thing that's coming out with this is the restrictions. You're going to recognize what needs to end by the things you feel restricted by. If you're feeling restricted in your job, if you're feeling restricted in your finances, if you're feeling restricted in your home life, if you're feeling restricted, like whatever it is, relationships, it doesn't matter what that is, you know, and you can either fight it out with other people or fight it out with what's going on in your life, or you can just admit and be honest with yourself, right? And honesty sometimes comes with that mental loop, right? 9 of Swords is underneath the Page of Swords. But if you can be honest and you can have those hard conversations that might turn into arguments, sometimes the arguments need to happen. But if you can be honest, then there's more of a balance that you'll be feeling. When in doubt, so we have the 6 of Pentacles with Justice. We have the Moon and the Knight of Wands clarifying the 6 of Pentacles and Justice. When in doubt, go within. The Moon is about the things that we don't see on the surface. The Moon are those emotional depths that we all have inside. And sometimes we can second guess those intuitive parts of ourselves. When in doubt, ask yourself what's unbalanced in your life. Where are you giving more to the things that you don't want to be giving to? Like the things that are draining you, the things that are taking your energy, the things that are not giving back to you. When in doubt, go within. All of the answers that you have through these changes are inside of you. And you already know what it is that is driving you to insanity. You already know what that is. I don't even need to tell you. But it's up to you to figure out the removal of whatever is driving you to insanity. Fair enough? I love you guys. I'm really glad that I was able to do this video. I've been thinking about it for damn near a week. But it's got to be at the right time. So I'm glad that I was able to do it today. I love you all so much. I do have openings up in my calendar. I have openings in my calendar. So if you'd like to get a reading, you can do it that way. I'm also going to be doing some local readings in our sister town in Victor, Colorado in late September. So if you want to come visit me, I'm going to put the information below. And so you can know, you'll know like where to find me and all of that stuff. But also, I'm on Twitter. I'm not really on Instagram a lot. I'm on Twitter sometimes as well. Like I've really taken a step back from social media. But more often than not, you can find me on Twitter. And I will probably be back in a couple of weeks to get some more readings done for you guys. But if you want something a little bit more personal to see how this season is going to affect you, I've got tarot readings, I've got astrology readings, and I even opened up my Akashic Records again. So if you're interested in doing any of that, I'm available. I love you guys. I hope you're taking care of yourself and each other. Bye.